closure of the 3DS and Wii U E-Shops are imminent. And as you could probably tell by the Majora's Mask-esque title card, you have approximately 3 days to do whatever you need to do to get all of the games and all of the things that you want on either eShop. And that really sucks. I have a lot of feelings about this whole eShop closure that I'm not going to get into in this video, maybe later at some other point in time, but ultimately, I think it's pretty darn ridiculous. But ultimately, you really want to take the time to go through and make sure you have everything that you need before all these games and DLC and stuff are no longer available. That is, of course, unless you want to mod your systems, but who would do that? Who would do that? That's difficult, especially on the 3DS. Really, it's really hard to do that. So yeah, unfortunately, because of the closure of these eShops, a bunch of wonderful titles are going to be lost to time forever. And not only just that, there's also a bunch of other stuff that if you don't do this now, you will miss out on forever, seemingly. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna go through some of the things that I think you should really make sure to check on before the eShops close. Hi everybody, my name is Alex, aka Quality, and welcome back to the channel. Now, your first question might be, what if I don't have any more funds in my eShop? Which is very, very valid. As of sometime last year, I can't remember if it was exactly a year ago, sometime last year, they made it so you are unable to add any more funds via a credit card or anything like that to the 3DS and Wii U eShops. However, do not despair, there is still a way to get funds on those accounts if you still want to buy some things. So I'm gonna give the very slimmed down explanation of how to do this, but I am going to include a link of basically the step-by-step process in either the pinned comment or the description, so stay tuned for that. So you're actually able to add funds by connecting your Nintendo Network ID, which if you remember, that's what you used for your 3DS and Wii U, to your actual Nintendo account. Now there is a big difference. Your My Nintendo account, that's what your Switch is linked through. Nintendo Network ID, that's Wii U and 3DS. So on your 3DS or Wii U, what you want to do is you want to go to your settings to enable non-Nintendo devices. Because of the Switch not being on the Nintendo Network ID, it's not recognized as a Nintendo device, weirdly enough, so that's why you want to enable that. After that, you're gonna go to the Nintendo website and sign into your account. From your profile page, you're gonna go to linked accounts and look for the Nintendo Network ID, and then you're gonna select and input your password. After that, you're gonna wanna just add funds how you would normally onto your eShop on your Switch. And so by the add funds option, there should also be a little option to merge with 3DS and Wii U, and thus any funds that you have, you'll be able to use between your Switch, your Wii U, and your 3DS. So it's nice that there is a workaround for this, as there are some really cool things to still get on those eShops. So let's get into that portion. One of the first things that I really recommend you do is check your personal games on either console and see if there's DLC, because as of right now, there's no foreseeable way to get DLC for those games in any other format. For some titles, it might not matter as much, but for games like Theater Rhythm, there's like over hundreds of dollars of downloadable songs that you can only get this way. I believe they are coming to the Switch version at some point in time, but if you want them for your 3DS copies, now is the time to buy up as many Final Fantasy songs as you want. But one of the biggest examples of this, which, as a lot of you know, I'm a big Fire Emblem fan. So with Fire Emblem Fates, you have Birthright and Conquest. Those were the two physical games that you could get for Fire Emblem Fates. However, there's also a third game. That's right, like a full third game. Fire Emblem Fates Revelations. And this game, unless you have the big box special edition where it is included on the cartridge for that edition only, so unless you have that physical copy of the game, you can only get Revelations by downloading it from the eShop. And that's a full game. That's a full other Fire Emblem game. It's kind of like the golden route between Birthright and Conquest. So if you want that, you gotta get that now. Also, check and make sure that all of the DLC for those games are available. I know the DLC for Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright is only available to buy after you beat the game. So make sure to check that out and make sure that you have all of your DLC ducks in a row, because otherwise it's just gonna be gone. All of it's gonna be gone. In a similar vein, make sure to check out the virtual consoles on both systems. So honestly, the Wii U Virtual Console, it's pretty poppin'. You have a lot of GBA games, which while we have GBA games coming on NSO now, there are still a few that probably aren't gonna make it. Or if you don't have the expansion pass for Nintendo Switch Online and you just want specific GBA games, now would be the time. Same thing with the 3DS. Right now, the 3DS is the only way to get Gold, Silver, all of those older Pokemon games have not made their way over to NSO. And even though I know people are really hoping they are, I'm not positive they will, given the Pokemon Company and their questionable business choices. So I highly recommend going through and picking up any of those old Virtual Console games that you want to have and just have forever and not have it tied to an online subscription. So make sure to check those out. Another related one, just going back to that for a second, is there's no other real way to play Super Mario RPG right now unless you have an SNES Classic. So if you want Super Mario RPG, get it on your Wii U. Get it on the Wii U, because tell Nintendo that we want this game, please, in some way, because it's not on NSO. It doesn't seem like it's coming to NSO. I want it back. I want my game back. All right, and now an obvious, but also one that I think is almost harder to gauge if you haven't been on the eShop in a while, getting eShop exclusive games, because as the title says, they're exclusive. Unfortunately, we've already run into the problem where a lot of games that were already on the eShop have been taken off because a lot of those publishers' licenses have expired and they're not gonna renew them for a system that's only going to be alive for 2 more months. Which makes complete sense, but also that's really worrisome because who's to say that's not going to happen with some of the other 3DS exclusive games that we have? So really scour the eShop, look for any games that you don't know if they exist. Some 3DS games have been ported to mobile, which is nice, but even then, you have games like the Pushmo series, Picross 3D 2, you also have a Rhythm Heaven game. Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix, I'm pretty sure is the one. I think you can only get that on the 3DS. Ace Attorney 5 and 6, there are a lot of games that you can only get on the eShop. So I really recommend going through them and finding things that you really want, because there's not going to be another way to play them. Now, these next 2 tips are specifically for 3DS, and this first one is actually specifically for Pokemon fans. So on your 3DS, make sure you download Pokemon Bank and Pokemon Transporter. These are the only 2 ways that you're going to be able to transport Pokemon from the DS games and older to your Switch into Pokemon Home. Now, Pokemon Bank does have a subscription, but if you get it now, once the eShop closes, then you don't have to pay that subscription anymore. And they said that the system will still work if you have it. So that's not something you have to worry about, is spending a few bucks for a subscription that then after a month is just totally gone. But those are 2 things that you really, really, really want to make sure you have if you want to transfer some of your old Pokemon up to your newer games. And also for the 3DS, download any themes that you want. One of the very cool things about the 3DS were how many different themes based on different games and franchises that you could put onto your system, just to give it that little extra burst of customization. Now, funnily enough, I was actually never a big theme person, but even I might grab some just to kind of have that little extra touch of Nintendo history and creativity, just to have that little extra touch of Nintendo history on there to be like, yes, I have that theme. So make sure to grab some of those. I think there are also some free ones too, which will also disappear when the eShop is gone. So you might as well just grab the free ones just to have them. All right, and this is a big one. And this actually kind of relates back to my previous video where I bought some 3DS and Wii U games. Check it out if you haven't already. But make sure to check the prices of some physical games versus buying them digitally. Unfortunately, and it always happens at this point in a console's lifespan, the price of physical games is going to increase, especially after the closure of the eShop. So you're gonna see some games that are already really expensive through the 3DS and Wii U shoot up in price. As I kind of talked about in my last video, some games like Xenoblade Chronicles X are getting harder to find, and it was hard to find for a decent price. Even more so, The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD, I can't find a North American version physically for under $150 right now, and that's probably only gonna get a little bit worse, which makes me really sad because I really wanted Twilight Princess HD, but it's fine. I'll play on my Wii, I guess. So while the physical copies of games are still rising in price, they are still probably market price in the eShop. So you might as well go grab them while they're cheap if you just want the game. Now, again, as somebody who vastly prefers to collect things physically, it kind of pains me a little bit to have to do that with some games. But whether it's between missing out on a game entirely because I can't find a physical copy, or sucking it up and downloading the digital version just so I have it and can play it, I'm probably gonna go that route for some games, which is weird to say, but still, it's something to really consider, especially like other games like Kid Icarus Uprising, super expensive 3DS wise. Fantasy Life is another one. If you're getting hyped for Fantasy Life 2 on the Switch, you want to play the original one, physical copy's still pretty pricey, so you might want to pick it up digitally. Shin Megami Tensei 4, there's a lot. There are a lot of games that I wanted to buy for the last video and just couldn't because physically they were just too expensive. So I'm gonna have to pick up a few digitally, I think. And our concluding point is basically, scour the eShops and buy what you want if you want to. Anyway, I hope this list was helpful for those that might be a little worried about the eShops closing and stuff like that. I didn't make this video because I want people to be freaking out like, oh my gosh, I have to buy all these games really fast. We don't all have all of the money in the world. This is more of, if this is something that you're worried about and you're really not sure what to do or what to look for, but you know you don't want to miss out on certain things, this is just kind of a good checklist to kind of go through to be like, okay, let's check my DLC, let's check what themes I have, blah, 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 blah. So I really, really hope it was helpful. I know personally I'm probably going to be buying a few more games, probably more on the Wii U eShop, because 3DS, I have my reasons why I'm not buying any more on the 3DS. How sly can I get about this, I wonder? But on the Wii U, as I said, I'm probably gonna pick up Twilight Princess digitally, just so I have it, just so I have the HD version, because I have no problem playing on the Wii. It's just, it'd be nicer to look at, I think. So that's my plan. Let me know if there's any games that you're planning on picking up on either the 3DS or the Wii U before the eShop closes. And yeah, but anyways, everybody, thank you so much for watching the video. If you like what you see here, maybe consider subscribing. We've got lots more content coming soon. I am going on a 3-ish week break, but basically once I'm back, we're gonna have plenty of content. So stay tuned for that. But anyways, everybody, until the next one, bye!